Something strange happens after you retire. You finally have all the time in the world, yet somehow, sleep becomes the one thing you can't seem to hold on to. It's not like the old days when you'd come home from work, kick off your shoes, and fall asleep without a thought. No, these days it's different. You lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering why your mind won't quiet down. If you're over 65 and living in the US or Europe, you're not alone. In fact, millions of seniors are losing rest, not just because of age, but because no one ever told us how to sleep well in this new stage of life. But that's why I'm here today. In this episode of Elderly Reflections, I want to share with you the real stories, the hidden truths, and the gentle wisdom from our fellow elders. Folks who've learned how to reclaim rest after retirement. So stay with me. And before we begin, go ahead and subscribe so you won't miss out on more stories and inspiration for senior health, motivation, and the quiet power of growing older. Now let's get into it. Why do so many seniors struggle with sleep after retirement? From what I've seen and lived, there are several real reasons behind it. And trust me, once we understand what's happening, we can start making real changes. First, let's talk about the loss of routine. That's one of the biggest culprits. When you're working, you have a set schedule. You wake up early, you move around during the day, your meals are timed, and your bedtime is usually consistent because, well, it has to be. But after retirement, that structure just disappears, and without it, your body loses its rhythm. I remember talking to Bill, a retired postmaster from Michigan. He told me for 30 years I woke up at 5:30 every morning, even Sundays. But the year I retired, I started sleeping in, skipping breakfast, watching TV till late, and I just didn't feel tired at bedtime anymore. He chuckled a bit and added, "It's like my body forgot what it's supposed to do." And that's the truth, isn't it? Our bodies are like clocks. They need structure to work properly. The second reason is one most people don't talk about: emotional overload. After retirement, we often face emotions we've never had to sit with before. Grief, regret, loneliness, even anxiety about getting older. And when the day winds down, that's when the mind starts up. I sat down once with a woman named Darlene from Oregon. She lost her husband the same year she turned 70. She told me, "It's not the loneliness during the day that gets me. It's the silence at night. That's when I hear everything I've been trying to ignore." And let me tell you, if you've ever felt your heart race or your eyes stay open till dawn thinking about things you wish you could change, you know exactly what she means. Third, physical discomfort. Aches, pains, stiff joints, chronic conditions. All of it. As we age, the body just doesn't cooperate like it used to. And when you're dealing with arthritis or neuropathy, or even just a bad mattress, it's hard to relax. My cousin Leonard, a retired mechanic from Kansas, once told me, "It's not that I can't fall asleep, it's that I keep waking up because my back feels like a busted car axle." We laughed, but he wasn't wrong. Senior health plays a huge role in sleep quality, and pain is a major barrier. That brings me to the fourth reason: medication side effects. A lot of us are on prescriptions, blood pressure meds, heart pills, antidepressants, and many of them mess with our sleep without us even knowing. I remember talking to a neighbor named Esteban in New Mexico. He was a retired school principal. He said, "I started having these weird, vivid dreams. Then I'd wake up drenched in sweat, couldn't get back to sleep. I thought I was going crazy. Turns out it was the new cholesterol medication they put me on." It took a while for his doctor to adjust the dosage, but once they figured it out, he was able to sleep more soundly again. That's why it's so important to talk to your doctor about side effects, especially after 65. Now let's not forget the fifth reason: lack of physical activity. It's simple. The less we move during the day, the less tired our bodies are at night. Retirement sometimes means a more sedentary lifestyle, and that can seriously affect sleep. I met Helen, an 82-year-old artist in California. She told me, "I used to sleep like a baby when I was painting, for 6 hours a day. But after my arthritis got worse, I stopped painting, and I stopped sleeping too." So she started doing gentle yoga in the mornings. Not big stuff, just stretches and slow breathing. And after a few weeks, she said her sleep was deeper than it had been in years. Turns out, she said, my body still wants to work. It just needed a way to move again. 6 screen time and overstimulation. You'd think this would be a young people's problem, right? But I've seen more and more seniors, myself included, spend hours scrolling through phones, watching late-night TV, or reading the news on tablets. That blue light messes with melatonin production, the hormone that helps you fall asleep. I once stayed up until 1 a.m. reading articles about world affairs. Next thing I knew, I was wide awake, my heart racing like I was back in the army. I remember my grandson saying, "Grandpa, you gotta put the iPad down at night. Your brain's still thinking it's noon." And you know what? He was right. So now I put the screens away an hour before bed. It's made a real difference. And finally, the seventh reason, fear of not waking up. I know it sounds dramatic, but for many seniors, going to bed becomes an emotional trigger. It's the quietest part of the day, and sometimes we wonder, will we wake up tomorrow? I had a coffee chat once with George, a 79-year-old widower from Toronto. He said, I used to fight sleep. I'd stay up till I was exhausted just so I wouldn't have to face that moment when the room went dark. But then I realized something. I was afraid that if I let go, I might not come back. That's a hard truth, and I felt it myself. But George told me something that stuck with me. He said I stopped seeing sleep as an end. I started seeing it as a gift, a moment of peace, a place where I could meet my memory. And I think that's powerful. So when we talk about sleep after retirement, we're not just talking about getting rest. We're talking about reclaiming comfort, healing, and peace in the most vulnerable part of our day. I've got a handful of practical tips, ones that have worked not just for me, but for many seniors I've met along the way. And I'm going to walk you through each one with the hope that something clicks for you too. First, create a consistent sleep schedule. That means going to bed and waking up at the same time every single day, even weekends. I know when you're retired it's tempting to sleep in or stay up late, but our bodies thrive on rhythm. I met a retired nurse named Paula from Florida who had trouble falling asleep for over a year. She told me, I was all over the place. Some nights I went to bed at 9, other nights I stayed up till midnight. My body didn't know what to expect. Then her doctor suggested she set a firm bedtime. She picked 10 p.m. and stuck to it. Even if I didn't feel sleepy, she said I got in bed and read until my body caught on. Within 2 weeks, I was asleep within 15 minutes every night. And it changed everything. Second, create a wind down routine. You can't just go from watching a crime drama straight into deep sleep. It doesn't work like that, especially for seniors. Our nervous systems need time to shift gears. Try a warm shower, soft music, light reading, or gentle stretching. Avoid anything too stimulating. I remember Paul, a 68-year-old jazz musician in Chicago, who told me, I used to practice right before bed, saxophone blasting, adrenaline pumping. No wonder I couldn't sleep. He started switching to soft instrumental playlists instead and added a warm cup of chamomile tea. Now he said with a smile, my sax rests when I do. But it's a ritual, and rituals help the brain know it's time to sleep. Third, limit naps to 20 to 30 minutes a day. Look, I know how good a midday nap feels, especially after lunch, but if you nap too long or too late in the day, your body won't be ready for rest when bedtime comes. I met Dorothy, an 81-year-old widow in Minnesota, who said, I used to nap for 2 hours every afternoon because I was bored, but then I couldn't sleep at night and I felt like a zombie the next day. Her sleep coach suggested limiting naps to 1 short session after lunch, and she started sleeping better at night. Now, she told me, I treat naps like espresso shots, short and strong. Fourth, get morning sunlight. Our circadian rhythm, our body's natural clock, relies on light to regulate itself. The best way to signal daytime to your body is to get outside early. Just 15 to 30 minutes of sunlight in the morning can help reset your sleep-wake cycle. I remember Joe, a retired farmer from Nebraska, who used to sleep great when he worked outdoors. But once he moved to the city, he stayed indoors most days and couldn't fall asleep before 2 a.m. His doctor told him to start walking every morning at sunrise. It was like magic, Joe said. After a week, I started getting tired around 9 again, just like the old days. Fifth, keep your bedroom cool, dark, and quiet. Seniors are more sensitive to temperature changes, and even small noises can disrupt light sleep. A comfortable sleep environment matters more than we think. I stayed with my sister one winter in Vermont. She kept her bedroom at 75 degrees and had a hallway light that stayed on. When I got home, I set my thermostat to 66, got blackout curtains, and added a white noise machine. Sleep came back like an old friend. As my sister later told me, turns out your room needs to sleep too. 6, watch what you eat and drink before bed. Heavy meals, caffeine, and alcohol can wreak havoc on your ability to fall asleep. I met Richard, a 70-year-old in Arizona, who said, I used to have a glass of wine every night to relax, but I'd wake up at 2 a.m. every single time. He didn't know alcohol could fragment sleep cycles. Once he swapped wine for herbal tea, his nights changed. I sleep deeper now, he said, and I still get my little evening ritual. Sometimes small tweaks make the biggest difference. 7th, move your body during the day. Exercise doesn't need to be extreme. A walk around the block, some gardening, tai chi in the living room. What matters is that you're moving. Physical activity helps reduce anxiety, tires the muscles, and tells your brain that rest will be needed. I once met Ingrid, a retired librarian in Sweden. At 85, she joined a senior swim class. She said it's not about fitness anymore, it's about sleep. If I swim in the morning, I sleep like a baby at night. If I don't, I toss and turn. It's that simple. Her words stuck with me. 8th, unplug from screens an hour before bed. That means turning off the TV, putting down your phone, and giving your eyes a rest from all that light and stimulation. I had to learn this the hard way. My granddaughter told me, "Grandpa, stop watching war documentaries at midnight." She was right. Now I unplug, light a candle, and write in a notebook instead. I fall asleep with a quieter mind and fewer nightmares. 9th, don't force it. If you can't sleep after 20 or 30 minutes, don't just lie there frustrated. Get up, read a calming book, sit quietly, then return to bed when you feel sleepy. Fighting it only creates stress. I remember Carl, a widowed veteran from Kentucky, who said, "I used to lie there clenching my teeth, cursing the ceiling. But then I learned to just get up and sit with myself. It took the pressure off." Sometimes sleep comes easier when you stop chasing it and finally talk to someone, whether it's your doctor, a counselor, or even a trusted friend. Sometimes sleep problems are rooted in something deeper: grief, anxiety, depression. These aren't signs of weakness. They're signs of being human. Evelyn, a retired nurse from Canada, told me, "After my sister died, I didn't sleep for months. Not because I wasn't tired, but because I couldn't stop thinking. Therapy helped me find peace, and peace helped me find sleep again." Her story is a reminder. Healing often begins in the heart, not the head. So these are my 10 best tips. Nothing fancy, just real tools backed by real lives. Sleep is one of the most precious gifts we have, especially in this chapter of life. So what happens when you actually apply these changes? I'll tell you. Howard had spent 5 years battling insomnia after retirement. He tried over-the-counter sleep aids, late-night radio, even whiskey. Nothing worked. One day his granddaughter gave him a journal and said, "Just write your thoughts before bed, Granddad, even if they're messy." He did. Not because he believed it would work, but because he wanted to feel close to her. And slowly he found that by emptying his mind onto paper, he created space for rest. He told me, "I didn't need pills. I needed to unload the weight I was carrying around." Another story I carry with me is from Louise, 80 years old, a retired teacher in Nova Scotia. For years, she suffered from what doctors called sleep maintenance insomnia. Falling asleep was fine, but she'd wake up at 3 a.m. and stay awake for hours. She tried meditation, breathing techniques, everything. What finally changed things was a conversation. Her sister, who'd been through cancer treatment, said to her, "When I couldn't sleep, I stopped trying to fix it. I just used that time to comfort myself. I'd pray or just think about people I loved." Louise started doing the same. "It wasn't perfect," she said, "but those quiet hours stopped being scary. They became sacred." That's powerful. When we stop treating sleeplessness like failure and start treating it as an opportunity for grace, everything changes. Then there's Marcus, 72, from Texas. A former contractor, big strong hands, big personality, but his biggest challenge after retirement? Slowing down. He'd been a go-getter all his life. But when the job stopped, the stillness hit him hard. "My brain didn't know how to rest," he told me. "I didn't even know what rest meant." At first, he resisted every sleep tip, said it was nonsense. But eventually, he got tired of being tired. He started walking in the morning, cutting coffee by afternoon, and swapped nightly news for audiobooks. Within 3 weeks, he started sleeping 6, then 7 hours a night. "I thought slowing down meant giving up," he said. "Turns out, it meant healing. And that's the heart of it. Better sleep isn't about routines alone. It's about respect. Respect for your body, for your mind, and for this precious stage of life. Sleep is one of the most underrated forms of self-love, and as we age, it's not just helpful, it's essential. I've talked to hundreds of seniors across North America and Europe. Some healthy, some dealing with chronic illness, some living alone, some in communities. And if there's one truth that stands out in all their stories, it's this: rest is not passive, it's active. It's something you must choose, prepare for, and protect. And when you do, life feels different. The days feel lighter, the mood lifts, the fog clears, and you start to feel like yourself again. That, to me, is the essence of Elderly Reflections. We don't just talk about sleep. We talk about the stories that shape it, the grief, the silence, the transitions, the habits, and we talk about elderly wisdom not as a lecture, but as a lantern, a soft light guiding you back to peace. So if you're listening to this and thinking, That sounds like me. I want you to know this. It's not too late to sleep well again. And the journey doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to begin. So now you've heard the truth. Sleep after retirement isn't about age. It's about understanding, adapting, and honoring your changing needs. You don't have to settle for tossing and turning, for waking up tired, or for nights filled with restlessness and worry. You've lived too long, seen too much, and earned too many quiet mornings to let sleep be stolen from you. I hope something in this story reminded you of yourself, or someone you love. Maybe it gave you a tool, a little comfort, or just the feeling that you're not alone on this journey. Because you're not. We're all here, walking it together. One breath, one night, one new habit at a time. If you found any value in this, I'd be honored if you'd like this video, leave a comment, or share it with someone who might need it. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a next reflection, next story, or next piece of elderly wisdom. And before you go, I want to ask, where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments. I'd love to know. Until next time, sleep well, stay kind, and keep reflecting.